Yabba-dabba-dabba-doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
This is the Mike Kelly podcast.
Mike Kelly. Stand by, here we go, with the very latest Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast. It's the special edition, the one called The Vicar Warned My Mum I Should Get a Proper Job. So climb aboard and sit in the big posh comfy sedan chair of time as we head towards the one-stop, non-stop, fully loaded, fun-filled, action-packed, free, funny, newsy, outrageous podcast where you'll have more fun than you imagined possible with your clothes on. So fastest finger first as we let rip on today's show.
On this week's podcast,
with stories about water bills, GB News, Potholes, Gabriela Rodriguez, Finair, Netto, Rosewater, Professor Frank McDonough, fake Showbusiness news, Joyce the assistant, charities, competitions and a whole lot more.
this is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Mr. Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast, I'm here. Are you ready for me?
Morning, my imaginary assistants. Ready as ever? What have you got?
Let's talk in song titles. Are you ready?
Yes, I can see clearly now. Time for action.
And I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
We don't have to take our clothes off to have a good time.
What, like a virgin?
Joyce, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Mr. Mike, some guys have all the luck.
Joyce, be young, be foolish, be happy. Yabba-dabba-dabba-doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you. And on that happy note, governments around the world, but particularly in the UK, are killing off the population to reduce costs. I know it's a bit of a breathtaking statement, but the way they handled COVID, the way they run the NHS, already our life expectancy is 4 years less than it used to be. And that's before you start including all the war opportunities they're taking, Ukraine, Israel, and the Houthis.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
It's that time of year when the council tax and water bills arrive in the post. Council tax bills up by as much as they can get away with, and my Yorkshire water bill says nearly £300 goes on getting rid of my sewage. If we're all paying that, why can't they treat sewage properly and stop dumping it in the seas and rivers? And on council tax, I see Buckingham Palace pays just £1,828 council tax a year, the same as a 3-bedroom semi in Blackpool. It's probably because there's just 2 of them living there now that the kids have left home. This is new from Cluckington Central. It's our new Round Rascal microwave fried eggs. Yes, fried eggs which come in a traditional 6-pack flat pack ready for you to microwave. 15 seconds and your Round Rascal fried egg sandwich is ready. No mess, no washing up. Order your Round Rascal microwave fried eggs from cluckingtoncentral.co.uk.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Do you remember when payday was a Thursday? You used to get a little greaseproof paper envelope with your money and pay slip in it. You'd open it to check it was right, then head off to the pub with your workmates. Now that there's so few banks around and cash machines, maybe we should go back to those money-filled days. Talking of years gone by, do you remember when large blocks of ice cream were wrapped in cardboard and kept in the freezer section at the supermarkets? Then there became plastic tubs. How climate friendly and green is that? Anybody remember the network chart show on independent radio to compete with Radio 1's Top 40? They say the only reason it had some success was by the DJs on Radio 1 slagging it off and bringing attention to it by doing so. Do all those people who show images of GB News on social media while slagging it off not realise they are doing exactly the same?
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Joyce, how's your week? Anything you want to mention or moan about?
Everything's okay-ish apart from a tire on the Mini exploded when I hit a pothole.
Yes, it's terrible. I used to be able to remember where the occasional potholes were, but now they're on every road. I even saw Tony Blackburn complaining about them on social media.
That's what we need, celebrities involved. Maybe Rod Stewart and his neighbours can come round and fix them. I saw them on the news fixing roads near where they live last year.
What, Rod Stewart and the Faces? And those road-fixing aces?
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
And we're sticking with the new too, the Shorter Than Short. It's Barry Phillips Disco at BP Discos and the 1000 best songs in the world ever. 768. John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, Summer Nights. Best bit at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. As they said in Gavin and Stacey, it's not a proper wedding disco until you've done the Grease megamix. 773. Mud and Tiger Feet. Best bit at 0.01. Not every song can boast its own dance moves that everyone of a certain age knows how to do, but this one does. Yeah.
It's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
Don't forget, pod pickers, if you want to get in touch about anything to do with the Shorter Than Short podcast show, please use the following to contact us. And if you have any stories, gossip, jokes, or anything for the next episode, go to @MikeKellyDisco on social media sites. And out there on social media sites, Dr. Mike, PAs, physician associates, should not be called general medical practitioners. It's misleading and way too close to general practitioner. They are PAs. However, you have to blame the GMC and the Royal Colleges for this debacle. They have allowed this to happen, and the only people suffering are patients. Blade of the Sun. Before it went bankrupt, Nottingham City Council had its funding cut by £100 million a year since 2010. It was nearly £1.5 billion per year below 2010, a total of £10 billion. The Conservatives have stolen the same from almost every council. But what have they done with the stolen £700 billion? Papillon. We have the best food banks, the best potholes, the greatest queues at A&E, the best collapsing schools, the best NHS waiting lists, the best shortages of workers, the best long train delays, the highest ticket prices, the best council deficits, and world-beating levels of poverty. Morris Bright, MBE, nay lad. The most wonderful of character actors, John Savidant, has died aged 86. Such a talented man. I say, such a talented man. Much adored as Cheeky Butcher, Fred Elliott in Coronation Street. Thanks for all the joy.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Oh yes, I have learnt something new. CBE returning former head of the post office, Paula Venables, was in line to get the job of Bishop of London, the third most senior role in the C of E Church. Not much being said about this in the press, mind you. And those outrageous moments, Gabriela Rodriguez, the cleaner at Devonshire Solicitor's office for more than 2 years, was sacked by her employer, Total Clean, for eating a leftover tuna sandwich. Many are campaigning for her to be reinstated. Finnish airline Finair has started a voluntary weighing in policy at the departure gates in Helsinki, with the aim of being able to better estimate the weight of the plane and its passengers and contents before takeoff. Ironic that it should be an airline called Finair that is doing it.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
So Joyce, my Wonder Woman assistant, anything outrageous from you?
I see Pontins the holiday people are in trouble for putting Irish travellers on a secret blacklist.
I'm sure loads of people and businesses have blacklists. Didn't a bakery get in trouble for not baking a wedding cake for a gay couple? I used to refuse disco bookings at certain well-known rough venues.
Not sure how you can make it work. How can you know who is and who is not an Irish traveller unless you are banning everyone with Irish-sounding names?
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Today's not-so-tricky music competition. Name the song or the artiste, or even better, both. When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Name the song or the artiste, or both. If you're new to the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast, you can still get to hear all previous episodes by searching or shouting the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
And those adverts? What's with the advert for an unknown car? Yes, an advert for a Polestar. Drives around but tells you absolutely nothing about the car or brand or price. They start at just under £45,000. And just by the way, why do all car adverts in the UK show the cars as being left-hand drive? Transpennine train adverts telling you how easy it is to get out and about, but in the middle of the rail strike and with collapsed bankings mean buses replacing trains? Oh, and gambling ads? Is it just me? They're doing my head in. On the radio, Talk Sport and non-stop betting adverts. Planet Rock's £2 a punt, make me a winner competition. ITV3, 2 gambling adverts per break in Midsummer Murders. The Chase, which is sponsored by Gala Bingo, making gambling look fun. The Lotto. The list is endless. We're better than this. Outlaw gambling adverts. And you never know, maybe more people would start watching TV. On TV, watching Vera, the Newcastle-based detective. Is she the UK's attempt to recreate Columbo, with a Geordie in a Mac and an old Land Rover solving crimes? Talking of criminal acts, caught Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Clarkson presenting. I thought he'd been removed for one of his many earlier faux pas.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Professor Frank McDonough at FXMC 1957. February 1997, scientists in Scotland announced that an adult sheep named Dolly had been successfully cloned. Dolly was created at the Roslin Institute in Edinburgh and was the first mammal to have been successfully cloned from an adult cell. February 1950, Julie Walters was born in Birmingham. She first gained national fame in the play Talent with Victoria Wood and international fame in the film Educating Rita. She subsequently appeared in many films, notably Billy Elliot, the Harry Potter series and Mamma Mia. February 1909, Phyllis Petchy was born in London. The person who made prawn cocktails and pizza famous in the UK. Yes, it was Fanny Craddock.
Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
Today's charity do-gooders are missing people who can be found at missingpeople.org.uk. Missing People offering a lifeline to everyone. Someone is reported missing every 90 seconds in the UK. Missing People is the only UK charity dedicated to reconnecting missing people and their loved ones. We offer support to people affected by a disappearance via our free confidential helpline on 116000 and can launch a publicity appeal to bring missing people home. Other services we provide include family support, counselling and specialist services for issues related to missing, such as exploitation and county lines. Find out all you need to know about missing people at missingpeople.org.uk.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Fake showbiz news at Fake Showbiz News. Breaking: singer Jess Glynn taken to hospital after being hit by a satellite falling from space. Greta Thunberg rebukes Billy Joel for naming his new single Turn the Lights Back On. Not a very good message to be sending out, she frowned. Sir Rod Stewart says, take no notice of sauce bottles that say, once opened, consume within a month, the fine for up to about 5 years. Lewis Hamilton reveals his move to Ferrari was sealed by team bosses promising to build him a racing car with a CD multiplayer that can play up to 10 discs at once. Should save me time changing CDs during the race, he beamed.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
You see and hear adverts to get you to order your tablets online and have them delivered. But how does that work? Surely, when it's popped through the letterbox, the dog or a toddler might help themselves to them. And don't we have laws that prohibit certain medicines being put in the post?
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Guess the celebrity. Born the 26th of March 1962 in Northampton, he has a middle name of Keith. He is an English writer, radio presenter and Church of England clergyman who was the Vicar of Findon in Northamptonshire from 2011 to 2022. He first came to prominence as the multi-instrumentalist who partnered Jimmy Somerville in a 1980s band that achieved 3 top 10 UK hits. He frequently appears on radio and TV, as well as in newspapers, and used to be the co-host of BBC Radio 4's Saturday Live programme. He is a regular contributor to QI, Would I Lie to You, and Have I Got News for You? Who is he?
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
More from the social media sites. The Conversation. The UK builds the smallest new houses in the Western world. Space limitations can lead to all kinds of problems. Enabling individuals to remain in their homes for extended periods would result in savings for both residents and local councils. Fiona Simmons. Bloody hell. UK life expectancy has fallen by 4 years. David Osland. Congratulations to Tory right-winger Baroness Stroud on her £530 a day job as chair of the Low Pay Commission. In Cockerell, British gas profits leap from 72 million to 751 million in a year. Energy industry, The Guardian. Isn't this level of piss-take considered cruel? Looks like profiteering to an unprecedented scale to me. Alf. Our local vicar's eyesight is so bad that he has to do christenings in a massive font. Viscount Matty. Fun fact to take you off to sleep. That smell in the swimming pool is not chlorine, it's trichlorine, which is created by chlorine reacting with urine. Yup, it's pea gas. Enjoy your next swim. Jennifer, where is the money? My childhood was poor, but there were libraries, parks, youth clubs, police on the street, knit nurses in schools, NHS dentists, doctors' appointments within a day or two, milk in school, free school dinners, fewer taxpayers. Where's the big money? Whinge of the week. Are supermarkets becoming a bit complacent like banks and think we owe them a living rather than providing the service we need as customers? Remember in the early days when Safeway, Finair and Netto gave discounts and service? What do we get now? Empty shelves, aisles blocked by staff and trolleys filling shelves, very few, if any, manned checkouts, automated checkouts with long queues. Let's remember, during the last couple of years, while food prices have shot up, so has the percentage cut the supermarket takes from each product, meaning bigger profits. We need some blue sky thinking and a new radical approach to shopping to make it better for consumers. Yes, some almighty shake-up is required.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Official figures show for the first time ever that most couples in England and Wales are not married or civil partnered, which can lead to financial misery if things go wrong. Greenhouse gas emissions and the 1,200 big methane leaks from waste dumps that are trashing the planet. Experts say huge leaks will doom climate targets. Stemming would rapidly reduce global heating. Street scars. Utility companies should be fined when they dig up streets and just fill in with tarmac instead of putting it back how it was with tiles and paving stones etc. Energy companies to charge us all £28 a year to make up for those who are in debt with their energy bills. Does anybody else do this? Does the garage charge you extra when the car in front drives off without paying? Well, apart from councils who are bringing in all sorts of ways to get more money, overnight parking charges, bus gates to catch it out, and private enforcers to fine you for dropping rubbish, that includes dropping a chip to feed pigeons. Even if they eat it, you get fined £150.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
In the late news, if Labour keeps sacking members for anti-Semitic reasons, will there be anyone left? Car cloning could be one of the UK's fastest growing crimes, but it's barely acknowledged or reported. South Kensington, Victoria and Albert Museum to appoint Taylor Swift expert. Mercedes doing a U-turn on electric vehicles and are instead developing petrol and diesel engines. Hospital admissions for sexually transmitted infections rise amid funding cuts in England. Andrew Brownie, UK minister responsible for building new pylons, reshuffled after campaigning against new pylon structures in his own constituency. Abdul Aziz Khosgar, the last Rosewater maker of Kashmir, not sure how much longer he can keep going as demand for funerals, weddings and special occasions has dropped off. Indian police have cleared a suspected Chinese spy pigeon and released it into the wild after 8 months in detention. Anything from you, Joyce?
Odysseus spacecraft landed near the Moon's South Pole, the first in half a century and the first ever achieved by the private sector. But who owns the Moon? Are we okay to exploit it?
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
If you want to get in touch with this top-rated and sometimes much-listened to podcast, please contact at Mike Kelly Disco on social media sites. Indeed, if you want a podcast making for your business or need any help with radio producer or presentation, travel news, voiceover work, please do get in touch. Please tell your friends about the podcast. All they need to do to find it is search on Google for the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
Okay, it's time to go. Name the song or the artiste. When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. What was that? Who was it? Bill Withers and Lovely Day. Guess the celebrity. Born the 26th of March 1962 in Northamptonshire. He has a middle name of Keith. He is an English writer, radio presenter and a Church of England clergyman who was the Vicar of Findon in Northamptonshire from 2011 to 2022. He first came to prominence as the multi-instrumentalist who partnered Jimmy Somerville in the 1980s band that achieved 3 top 10 UK hits. He frequently appears on radio and TV as well as in newspapers and used to be the co-host of BBC Radio 4's Saturday Live programme. He is a regular contributor to QI, Would I Lie to You and Have I Got News for You? Who is he? Born Richard Keith Robert Coles, but better known as Richard Coles. Today's do-gooders are missing people who can be found at missingpeople.org.uk. Guess what, my friend? That's enough for this edition of the Crazy Shorter Than Short podcast show. From me, Mike Kelly.
And me, Joyce.
Thank you for listening. Please take care out there. And remember, you can always find the podcast by searching or shouting the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast.
Yabba dabba dabba doo, it's the Mike Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast for you.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Mike Kelly.